This is one of those questions that sounds almost too obvious to ask until you actually start digging into the specifics. And then it turns into one of the most genuinely fascinating rabbit holes in biology. Elephants ambling across the savannah, their massive ears flapping in perfect symmetry as they move in concert. It's a graceful display that's mirrored across much of the animal kingdom. But then you have the flatfish, lying asymmetrically on the ocean floor. One eye migrated over to join the other on the same side of its head. So why are most animals symmetrical? And why do some break this pattern in such intriguing ways? The first concept we need to explore here is called bilateral symmetry, or what scientists might also refer to as sagittal plane symmetry. This is the idea that an animal's body can be divided down the middle into two mirror image halves. A lot of animals, including humans, exhibit this symmetry. Take the cheetah, for example, whose streamlined body is split by this imaginary line, allowing it to race through the African plains at speeds up to 60 to 70 miles per hour. In contrast, the seahorse offers another example. Its body coils and curls symmetrically, even as it floats upright in the water. But here's where things get complicated. The nautilus, with its perfect spiral shell, seems to contradict this notion of symmetry. It doesn't fit neatly into the bilateral mold, because its shell spirals in only one direction. This might seem like a break from the pattern, but it actually demonstrates how evolution often selects for efficient resource use. The spiral allows for growth and buoyancy, crucial for survival in its deep-sea habitat. So, bilateral symmetry might not be as rigid a concept as it first appears. Instead, it's a versatile framework that adapts to different ecological niches. Why then do some creatures like the nautilus break away from bilateral symmetry? Next, let's talk about something called asymmetrical adaptation, a fascinating process where asymmetry develops as a specialized trait. Consider the fiddler crab, with its one claw significantly larger than the other, used for attracting mates and fending off rivals. The size of the larger claw can be several times larger than the smaller one. This asymmetry provides an advantage in survival, showing that sometimes breaking symmetry can actually be a beneficial adaptation. But we must also consider the chiral snail, whose shell spirals in either a left or right direction, with 95% of the population coiling to the right. However, in some populations, left coiling snails have emerged. This might seem like a random deviation, but it offers a fascinating glimpse into how genetic mutations and predation pressures can drive asymmetry. Predators accustomed to right-coiling snails might be thrown off by a left-coiling shell. So in the end, what we're seeing is a dynamic interplay between evolution, adaptation, and the surprising ways nature bends the rules, offering a survival edge. This idea of asymmetrical adaptation challenges our initial notions about symmetry being a role of nature. It reveals that asymmetry might be nature's way of introducing diversity and resilience in a constantly changing environment. How do animals decide whether to stick with symmetry or develop asymmetry? That leads us to the concept of environmental symmetry breaking. This occurs when external environmental factors drive the development of asymmetry in a species. A fascinating case is the flatfish, which undergoes a radical transformation as it matures, with one eye migrating to the opposite side of its head, so it can lie flat on the ocean floor. This process, called metamorphosis, is driven by the need to camouflage and hunt more effectively. Interestingly, we see a different kind of symmetry breaking in the narwhal, often called the unicorn of the sea because of its spiral tusk. On average, these tusks can grow up to 8.2 feet long. The tusk is an asymmetrical feature, yet it serves key functions in mating rituals and sensing the environment. It turns out, the development of the tusk may be linked to sexual selection, an external force that influences physical traits. Environmental symmetry breaking shows us that symmetry is not a static blueprint, but a dynamic process influenced by an organism's surroundings. What about internal factors, like genes? How do they play into this whole symmetry or asymmetry decision-making process? Finally, let's delve into developmental genetics, a fascinating area that explores how genes influence body plan symmetry. A remarkable example is the fruit fly, whose genes that dictate symmetry are highly conserved across diverse species, suggesting a shared evolutionary origin. These genes regulate the development of bilateral symmetry, often creating two mirror-image wings about 2.5 millimeters long. Then we have the starfish, a creature that defies bilateral symmetry with its radial symmetry. Each arm grows from a central point and can reach up to 40 centimeters in some species. What's interesting here is that starfish can regenerate lost arms, a testament to a distinct genetic pathway that prioritizes symmetry of a different kind. This look at genetics reveals the remarkable flexibility of life's blueprints. Symmetry, whether bilateral or radial, is a canvas upon which evolution paints a multitude of forms. So how do we wrap this all up? Let's come back to the image of the elephant, moving with its symmetrical grace across the savanna, and the flatfish, with its unique one-sided lifestyle. What we've uncovered is that symmetry isn't just a biological norm. It's a versatile strategy, a language that evolution speaks in different dialects, depending on the ecological stage. From bilateral to asymmetrical, from environmental influences to genetic blueprints, the story of symmetry is one of adaptation and survival, a dance of balance shaped by the diverse forces of nature.